What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, and I'm doing a review of the documentary short Call Me Country, Beyoncé and Nashville's Renaissance. This film it's a documentary short, but it does have audio description on Max. It's a pretty heavily promoted documentary short. It's basically why I watched it is because they ran ads before a show, and it was right there on the front for me to check out. Actually, I was going to check out the David Byrne thing, and I watched about 20 minutes of that, and I just couldn't take it anymore, and I left. So then I watched this. So if you're going to ever look for a review of David Byrne's Stop Making Sense, it's not coming. It does have audio description. I'll confirm that, but I'm not reviewing it. Yeah, so it's just not my thing. This is concerning. It's got TTS. We've got robo description happening on new product at Max, which is incredibly disheartening because it means it's one more service that's using it. And it's a service that's using it on something that is somewhat problematic. I've seen Netflix use it recently on The Wages of Fear, which was a French action film, and it's entirely possible. I don't think it is, but there's something that's up with. There's certainly, I'll say, there's something up with the audio description on Parasite the Grey. I don't think it's TTS, but it's something. There's something happening there. Some sort of like lower quality production value that they've put on that. So they're using it for their international series, and I kind of keep pushing Netflix to have more international content audio described. So, but over at Max, we've got a Beyoncé documentary that is getting TTS, which feels very odd. I can't say honestly that I've seen everything on Max to be able to say that this definitively is the first thing with TTS that is brand new. I'm not going to count anything that they pick up, like when those catalog titles that they get that rotate in and out. It's possible they've gotten something that is TTS, or that when they inherited stuff in their WBD merger, that Discovery Channel had some stuff that was TTS. But it's the first notable thing that I've seen on Max that's using very obvious TTS audio description. And it's unfortunate. It's a documentary about Black artists feeling underrepresented and discounted. And then they get also the cheapest form of audio description for their documentary about feeling underrepresented and discounted within their own industry. I don't know, when you're talking about feeling marginalized, you don't kind of marginalize it even more by trying out TTS on just a thought. It doesn't look good. It doesn't. I just wish more people would listen to us and hear our voice. Well, they'll hear your voice as a robot. It's not. It's a weird thing too, because they did choose a documentary. So if you watch any of my other documentary things, I usually say documentaries are one of the hardest things to describe, because so frequently you have people talking back and forth all the time, and it becomes really hard to really insert audio description. For me, from my perspective, one of the most important things is, who are you? Why are you talking? Why do you matter? That's something that always needs to be covered in the documentary. This sort of does that, but not really. It just also sort of just this. There are times, I guess, when visuals are happening on screen, and it does focus a lot on that. I was pretty impressed by the fact that the audio description, the AI audio description, knew how to pronounce Lil Nas X. That I thought was impressive. That somebody went to the trouble of that. A lot of times, that shows me at least that I think this has been quality checked. I think somebody heard this before it went out. It's not the best voice, which is again when we're concerning here, because I don't like TTS in general. But if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. So there are better voices that are being used right now. Netflix used one on The Wages of Fear. It's a much better voice. It sounds way more human, except for the fact that they did not quality check that, which is one of the reasons it was a dead giveaway. My favorite part being the Granada launcher. Um, just that was great. It's like, oh, it's a Granada launcher. What's a Granada? What are we launching at people? um, yeah, so thank you for quality checking it, but there are better voices that you can use that sound less like my screen readers on my devices. This sounds like a screen reader for my device. Um, yeah, it's not going to get me excited. The documentary is fine. It's a short documentary, and it's a lot of Black country artists talking about being about their visibility in country music. They talk a little bit about Old Town Road and when that happened, and how country music fought to get that off. They talk a little bit about Beyoncé when she performed at the CMAs, and the overt racism response to that. One guy talks about his experience of just being in the audience for that, and hearing a white guy say, get that black bitch off the stage. And he's like, what? And I'm like, find yourself a safe environment, sir. It's country music. It's tough. They mentioned that it's hard even for females. Weird thing is, I didn't even think about that, because I love a lot of country females, and you think about country females all the time. Like I can name a lot of female country singers, maybe not as much as men, or maybe as much as men. I don't know, but I know I would prefer to listen to a lot of the female country artists that are coming out of country music over a lot of the random male country artists. So that's just a personal preference thing. I mean, yeah, I've got some country artists that I like listening to, like Rascal Flatts. I think that dude's voice is insane. But it does need, it's funny to think that even just for white female artists, that there's a little bit of a wall, and then you get down to Black female artists that make up an even smaller percentage of that percentage. And it's I think the number was 12. Was it 12 country artists? It's funny, I just watched this thing and I can't remember all the statistics. 12 Black female country artists that have ever charted on the top 100 for country. It's really sad. Oh, ever. Like it's sort of like the statistic, like film. When we talk about film and we talk about everybody's like, oh, we should have gender neutral categories. I'm like, you can have a gender neutral category when we get a female cinematographer winner, because that's a gender neutral category, and no woman has ever won that category, and it's an original category. So I think only like 3 or 4 have ever been nominated. So it's like a really low statistic in that field. So that's always my argument against gender neutrality in the Oscars. Is we're still at a point where Halle Berry is the only black woman to have ever won Best Lead Actress, and they think that we're at a point where we can just gender neutralize and everything will be fine. Sure, the voters they'll vote fairly. Yep, because that seems to be working out real nice for everybody. Um, but any, this is yeah, it's another documentary that points out inequities. It does a really good job of doing it. I was entertained. It was 30 minutes. I hate the fact that there's TTS on this. I hate the fact that it's a documentary about black people talking about, uh, feeling marginalized as a community. And then Max was like, I don't know if anyone's gonna watch this, put TTS on it. Well, then don't advertise the shit out of it, man. This is something that they're advertising the absolutely living hell out of. And, it's been front and center on Max. Um, I don't always drop my reviews immediately after seeing something because I see more than one thing. So I end up being a little bit behind. I don't know when this is going to drop and how popular the documentary will be when I drop this, but it's pretty popular at the time of me recording this. So, um, just food for thought. I don't know that it looks great to have put TTS on this as of all the documentaries. I watch enough stuff on Max. I would have started with something else. I would have started with, if you want to test your TTS waters, you have a lot of catalog stuff. You have a lot of Adult Swim content that could use audio description that doesn't have it. A lot of stuff that you could dip your toes into. I wouldn't have done it on a new documentary. It attracts way too much attention. You want somebody to find it on, you know, some Turner Classic movie from like 1957. That's where you want people to find out that you're slowly using TTS. And you're like, what? Oh, well, I was watching an old Clint Eastwood movie from from back in the day, and lo and behold, TTS. It's like, I mean, you can covertly add it to things, um, and end up using it to expand the depth of your catalog bench. But when you put it front and center on the thing that you're advertising, people are going to notice. Um, just food for thought. Anyway, um, I thought this was fine. It's a documentary short, so it's short and sweet. Uh, I wish it had more to say. I wish they got Beyonce involved. The really weird thing is Beyonce's not involved in her own documentary. Um, what's even weirder is she's the only person credited on IMDb, but she's not actually in the documentary. Like Beyonce is not. The documentary is not about her speaking to the camera. It's about all of the other black artists like Mickey Guyton, and people like that speaking to the camera. They're the ones that are controlling the narrative. So, very odd. Uh, please update the IMDb page for this. It's odd that Beyonce is the only artist listed as if she's the only one talking to the camera. Weird. Um, yeah. So, I it's fine. I think probably we could have gone longer, more in depth, and not done a documentary short and done a feature here, and really involved and talked about the impact of black artists as a whole. We really just glazed over Charlie Pride. Like they just kind of name dropped Charlie Pride, and I'm like, man, we could have talked about Charlie Pride back in the day, and what was it like for him back in the day? Like, nobody looked like him in country music. Um, but we just kind of glazed over that. So I'm gonna give "Call Me Country" a B plus. The audio description, I don't. The written part of it, I don't have a problem with it. I do think it was quality checked. It's one of the more irritating choices that they could have made for voice. It's one of the more obvious choices. It just sounds like a screen reader option for Jaws. It's super obvious. It's like, no way is that a human voice. Unless they're intentionally speaking into something to make their voice sound robotic, like a pop artist does nowadays with the auto tune, you know? Um, but that's it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And check out Beyonce's new album. It's actually pretty cool. I've listened to it, and I like it. Um, is she my favorite country artist? No. But at the same time, she can absolutely make country albums. I don't really know what's the problem, you know. Um, Keith Urban is from Australia, you know. Just food for thought on that as to what makes somebody country, you know. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.